Welcome to the Roadrunner 89 Swirl to Investment Network, where we talk about interracial love and marriage. Hope you enjoy Swirl to Investment. Okay, how's everybody doing today? Good to see everybody. Good to see you, Gina, Beverly, and Winnie. Good to see you tonight. And everybody watching, please give me a 1 if you can hear me okay, just so we know that my audio is good. I know the video is good. I could see it on my thing. But I got the volume turned down so I don't get a double feed here. So, oh, you can hear me? Okay, thank you. Welcome, CC. Good to see you. All right, thank you. And on unapologetically divested, good to see you also. Tonight, okay, there's a topic that I put out there for a vote, and at the time, we went with interracial marriage and biracial children. Okay. But tonight, we're going to talk about interracial marriage and white privilege. Okay. I'm going to show you some videos about that. Okay. And I'm going to give you my opinion. Okay. I know this might be triggering to some, but it's not intended to be. Okay. I'm going to just look at it and try to look at it objectively and, logically without emotions in it. Okay, that's what I want to do tonight. Okay. And if you have opinion on it, there's no right or wrong answer. Okay. I just kind of want to know where people are at with this thing. Okay. Hey Chris, good to see you. Elise, good to see you too. Jennifer Smith, good to see you, young lady. Okay. All right. Before I came up, I put out the copyright disclaimer. Okay. We're going to use these videos for educational purposes. Okay. So we can learn something, get other people's opinions. Okay. There's nothing wrong with disagreement. I think as long as we come with our true beliefs and look at it logically, okay? But anyway, but I put out the copyright disclaimer, and like I said, we're going fair use, okay? We're using it for education, commentary, opinion. We're not using it to slam certain individuals. I don't go in on individuals unless they come from me. Um, but I will be honest and I will give you my opinion. I believe the best thing I could do for you is be honest with you. Okay. And sometimes there's a consequence for being honest. Okay. But it's the right thing to do. All right. I don't want to pretend I'm something I'm not. Okay. I'm an everyday American white guy married to an amazing black woman. Okay. And I am very blessed. And I'm privileged because I got a good wife, a good family. Do I have white privilege? I say yes and no, but we'll get into that. Okay. So let's start. I might go first into white privilege, and then we're going to go to interracial marriage, and we're going to put it together with white privilege if it exists or if it doesn't. Okay. Um, and you guys, whatever your opinion is, and then I'll drop the link if you want to talk about it. If you don't, that's fine too. Okay. This ain't going to be a super long show, and that's not my intention. But sometimes we get to talking and it can go beyond. But anyway, I might start here with Dr. Phil. Okay, he's got a panel, and there's a short video where they talk about white privilege. Well, no, let me start with. Uh, I'll get to that. Okay. But let me add this.
Be offended when someone says you have white.
All right. This young lady says, you know why you shouldn't be offended. Okay. Let's hear what she has to say about white privilege.
You know why you shouldn't be offended when someone says you have white privilege? Because it doesn't necessarily mean you're racist. There's all kinds of privilege in the world, and having it doesn't make you a bad person. Denying that it exists can, though. Take the fact that I live in the U.S. For all its flaws, U.S. citizens do have an unprecedented amount of personal freedom. That's a privilege that someone living under a dictatorship or a totalitarian regime does not have. I readily acknowledge this and would never minimize the suffering of another person by refusing to admit that I carry privilege in this area. Even as a black person living in the United States, I acknowledge that colorism is a very real thing. A darker-skinned black person will have a very different lived experience than I do. That's a privilege that I carry. And of course, there's all kinds of privilege that has nothing to do with race or ethnicity. Pretty privilege, straight privilege, wealth privilege. There's clear factual data around these advantages, and pretending that they don't exist just makes us look like the ostrich with its head stuck in the sand. Having white privilege doesn't mean that you haven't had your share of hardships in life. It just means that your skin color isn't one of the things making those hardships worse.
Okay. All right. What's she saying? Okay, white privilege. Okay. She says you having it doesn't make you a bad person or racist. We all have privileges, right? And that's a true statement. We have privileges living in our country. Some of us have privileges over each other because of our economic situation. Okay. There's so many privileges out there that we either have or we don't have. Okay. And life is not fair. Okay. This white privilege thing doesn't exist. Am I privileged because I'm a white man here today? Because I was born white, do I get a privilege? Okay. And I want you to think about that. Do black people have privilege? Is there a such thing as black privilege? What do you think? I think when you say white privilege, okay, and she said having it don't mean you're a bad person. I agree with that. But not acknowledging it to be a bad thing. I disagree with that. Because when we look at white privilege, you know, there's a lot of white people that have hardships, that are in poverty. There are white people living on the street today. Okay. Do they have white privilege? Okay. Now, you say, does white privilege exist? There are people that say yes and no, both black and white. Okay. There are black people that say definitely you're white, you have privilege. There are some black people that say no, that don't exist anymore. Okay. After the civil rights, they say there's not really a white privilege thing. I don't care what people's opinions are. I don't take offense if you tell me I have it, and I don't. I'm not mad at you if you say I don't. I don't. And my opinion on it is does it exist? Yes and no. And my opinion is it is dependent on your situation and who you're dealing with. If I go in for an interview for a job, say, okay, and they hire me because the guy or the lady wants favors white people, I would have white privilege right then and there. Okay. Now, if someone's hiring based on race, I wouldn't take the job. I think that's stupid and wrong. But I would have that white privilege. It would exist. Okay. Now, if they hire a minority and not me because I'm white, then they got the privilege. That's how I see it. I try to see it cut and clear. Okay. Yeah, privilege is a broad term. It really is. I have privilege because of the wife I have. I have privilege over many other men because they don't have a wife as wonderful as my wife. That is loyal, loving, loyal, and not everybody's like that. And I think within my marriage, me and my wife bring privilege to each other. Okay. You can create your privilege, your own privilege. You work hard, you get a degree, you go to a trade school, learn a trade, you work hard, and the fruits of your labor pay off, and you make more income. You live a more wealthy lifestyle. That can be a privilege that you create. Okay. I don't think in today's world it's necessarily white privilege. Some will say there's black privilege because of affirmative action, because of funding that black people get for college or the admissions. Well, we could jump down this rabbit hole all night long. Okay. I think privilege can go in many ways. Okay. I'm not going to say I don't have white privilege, but then again, I'm not going to say I do. It depends on what's happening. Like I said, if I get hired for a job because somebody likes white men, well, I may have privilege over minorities. But if I get pushed aside because they want minorities, then my white privilege goes away. That's how I see it. Okay. Now, people go in depth. They say, well, when you're dealing with the police, you don't have to worry about being gunned down because you're white. You don't have to worry about police brutality. Okay. I look at that and I say, maybe, I mean, I don't deal with the police a lot, but when I do, I don't fight the police. I fight police in court. If they do me wrong, I get the badge number, and that's how I do it. I would suggest everybody does that. Now, not all there are not just black men shot by police. There are black women, there are white men and white women. That there is wrongful shootings. There is accidents. Okay? I think the media hops on when it's a black man because there's more emotions, more anger, because it's a racial issue. Okay. Now in a way, that's kind of, when you look at the stats and you see there are many white people that do get shot by the police and unalived, right? There was a homeless white guy that the police It was a wrongful shooting. Someone accidentally shot, they unalived a homeless man, right? In my hometown. It was a white guy. There was people that were mad. There was a little protest in the town and it went away. It didn't get national notoriety. The George Floyd thing blew up. We're burning cities. We're going nuts, right? And I think there's a privilege to that. Okay. And it's kind of odd that the news media, they go where the money's made, where the emotions is. So we don't see the whole truth. You know, you look on the media, you see a young white girl that's missing, it makes national news, right? You see a little black girl, and it seems to stay only in the local media, right? I'm seeing privileges there. Okay. And when the George Floyd thing happened, you know, there were two other people that were unalived by the same technique used on George Floyd. There was a white guy in Dallas that was unalived, same technique. There was a Hispanic guy in Las Cruces, New Mexico, that lost his life because of it. Same technique. It didn't make national news, it was local. Why is George Floyd national? Because there's a lot of emotions. People don't like racism, and it. How can I say this? But people blow up, and it puts a thing of white supremacy, racism, just running rapid. And I see that, and nobody should be unalived. I don't think it's a good thing when anybody loses their life. I just think it's kind of biased, and we don't see the whole truth. But anyway, all right. But what she said, I agree with it. It don't mean you're racist or biased. Maybe I do have white privilege. Okay. Now, if I have it without even knowing it, because I didn't do anything wrong to anybody to get it. If I have it, it was just given. Okay. Now, do I have it? And I know people would be surprised for me to say, yes, I do have it. In certain instances, I don't have it, depending on who's in control. And it don't necessarily mean that white people are the majority, so they have the most power position, so I'm going to win because I'm white. No. Okay. There's some instances where you won't have it. Now, I worked for an employer when I was younger. Okay. When I was a teenager, it was a black man, and he owned a fast food restaurant. He owned a couple of them. Okay. Most of the people he employed were black, mostly teenagers, right? And the reason he did that is because a lot of them were from the church that he belonged to. So he's helping out these young kids get a job. I never seen a problem with that. That's his business, his choice. But there could be some white people say, hey, what about us white teenagers need a job too? I don't get caught up in that. Sometimes you got the privilege, sometimes you don't. It is what it is. Okay. But at being an American, I got privilege over most people in this world. Just being middle class. Think about that. And black people too. America has the richest black people on earth. Now, I know there's rich black people in different countries, but statistically, America has the richest black people on the planet. And you say, how can that be? We had slavery and Jim Crow, and black people are being oppressed. Yeah, black people were oppressed. White supremacy was a real thing. Slavery, you can't deny there wasn't white supremacy, and there definitely was white privilege because you weren't a slave because you're white, right? Jim Crow suppressed black people. The white privilege was real. You could not deny it. You can't even say, well, no, it was a real thing. But in today's world, is it there? Yeah, I think it's there in pockets. But it's not there in the government. The government's been pretty much putting forth programs where minorities get a head start, and trying to make up for the injustices of the past. I get it. And there's some things I agree with and some I don't. Okay. I believe in helping people out that are misfortunate. And I believe in today's world, it should be more of an economic situation where we boost up people with low income that come from, unfortunate situations where they don't have money for college. They don't have, they're put at the back of the line, not because of their race, but because of their economic situation. I believe in, if you want to say an affirmative action thing, I believe in it in a sense of economics, not race driven, but economics. Because why should someone that's wealthy benefit, whether black or white, from someone that's poor and grew up in a single parent household that don't have the resources, that don't have the means to compete? That's the thing I would go for, an economic, not race driven. I think race driven in today's world is something that takes us backwards. Okay. I know the history, I know the past, and it was horrible. Okay. But we can make it better coming together. And if you have privilege, hey, there's many people that have privilege over me. There's many people I have privilege over them. Okay. But if you're a good husband and wife and parent, you could create privilege for your own family. And I think the way to create privilege is come together through marriage. Okay. But that's my opinion. You might feel different, and that's fine. Okay. But I agree. Okay. It don't make you a bad person to have privilege. It's just, I guess she feels you're bad if you don't accept it. I disagree, because if you don't know it's there, why does that make you a bad person? Anyway, let's go to Dr. Phil. Let's hear what Dr. Phil has to say.
It's something that exists. Let's start.
Okay, let's start. Okay, here we go.
Let's start out by defining white privilege and what it is and what it is not. Now, first definition. Privilege is a special right or advantage or immunity granted or available only to a particular person or group. Now, when we say privilege, that just means that it's something that exists. It's not something that somebody created or grabbed, right?
Think about the famous story by David Foster Wallace. He said two fish are in the ocean swimming along. They meet an elderly fish coming the other way, and he says, "Good morning, boys. How's the water?" They go along a little piece, and they go, "What's water?" When you're in it, you don't recognize that you're in it. You derive your existence from it. You derive your sustenance from it. So it's a set of practices and privileges based upon skin color. It's based upon assumptions about who people are. So that's what privilege is.
Yeah. All right. And we're talking here that the privilege is, we said it goes to a group or an individual, and we're talking about the group being white here. And so white privilege, we're talking about inherent advantages possessed by a white person on the basis of their race in a society that's characterized by racial inequality or injustice. So the fish you're talking about here are white folks that are swimming in a society, and they don't realize that this inures to their benefit. It's not that they said, I'm going to position myself in a way that I have this advantage. It just exists all around them.
The conversation, Dr. Phil, becomes so difficult for so many people because when they think of privilege, they think that they should have socioeconomic advantage. So a lot of white people say, I don't have any kind of white privilege. I'm poor. I had to stand in the food line. My family was on welfare. And so they deny the existence of the privilege because they feel like they're not reaping the financial benefits that are usually associated with the word privilege.
Hey, let me stop right there. She said something. Okay, white privilege, there are, white people aren't receiving that financial privilege. Wouldn't that show that we're moving in the right direction where white privilege does not equal economic privilege, does not equal, I mean, because you could look back in the Jim Crow era, white privilege was real and in its full swing. I mean, you have more privilege on jobs, opportunities. But today, there are white people saying, well, I don't have white privilege because I grew up and I didn't have the best situation, might have been poor. And black people are acknowledging that and saying, you know what? It doesn't mean that you had all these privileges. Back in the day, they would say, because you're white, you do have those privileges. That's something I just noticed. And a lot of time, white people are going to get defensive. When you say you got white privilege, they're thinking, okay, that means you have a golden spoon in your mouth. Everything's been laid out for you. You have it all. Everything that you want, you can have. It just comes easy, which ain't true. And I think this is progress. Black people say, okay, you got white privilege, but it's not because, you did have hard times. They're acknowledging that even white people struggle. Even white people have hard times. But truth be told, even Jim Crow, there were poor white people. But I think this is progress. I'm looking at, I don't care if people think I got white privilege. I don't. Okay? As long as, we have privileges just because of where we're born. Our parents. If they both got married and provided a stable household, we have privilege above those that had a father that impregnated the mother and left. I have privilege over that. My father stuck around even though he was a teenager. That's privilege. That's not because I'm white. That's just because my father had character. Okay? But that's interesting. Okay? I'm looking at the positive. I'm not just saying, oh, I don't have it. I'm trying to have an open mind about this because I know that I'm not always right. I know that, hey, Corey, how's it going? Maybe there's something I don't see. And how can we make it even where the privilege is perfectly equal? I don't think you can, but can we with race make it totally equal? Are we going to say black people were oppressed, so white people get at the end of the line and get revenge? Or are we going to come together and try not to give one group privilege over the other? What are we going to do? What's the best solution? Let's continue.
Why do you think white people feel so defensive about this? Because you heard me say at the top, don't turn the channel, because a lot of people said, oh, here we go again. Okay, why do you think people feel defensive about this?
I think white people were raised to think of ourselves as good people.
We are good people.
And there is a moral thorn if you hear that you have had some things in your life that you didn't deserve, you didn't earn, but they came to you. So we're quite fragile on the subject, and whites are often defensive.
The reason, and thank you for having me here as a comic, part of my job is just to put white people at ease.
Oh, thank God. Oh my God. Put me at ease. Oh man. I thought I was done. Okay, he's going to put me at ease. Thank you, Alonzo.
So just relax. It's okay to be white. You got nothing to worry about. I'm good. It's nice you sat me next to the police officer. That's comfortable.
But you're next to a lawyer too, so I got your back.
I'm good. One of the things about white privilege, white people don't realize they have it because it's inherent, so they don't think about it. It's not this, they never had the encounter. For example, I get pulled over by the cops. I've had, anything from get out the car and do all of that stuff, or simply asked, how do I afford this car? I happen to drive a nice car. Like, I don't think any white person has ever had that happen, where a cop pulls you over in a BMW and says, how do you afford this car? Like that, so they don't really.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to disagree with him right there. Now, I'm not saying that it's equally happening, but I've been treated badly by police. I've had rude police officers say condescending things to me. And it's not a racial thing, because, well, there are black police officers that told me some bad things. When I was younger, and maybe some I deserved it, but there were times I didn't. And sometimes police, their stressful job, they have anger issues, and they might have a biased opinion on you. Okay. I've been treated bad, but I never tried to argue with the police. You can report it later. Now, and there's this conception that white people get pulled over and it's going to be a pleasant experience, and police are going to be very kind and polite, and they're going to just let you go. But if you're black, they're going to just cuff you and pull you out of the car. And I really don't believe that. I believe most police encounters are not violent. There are some that are. I don't think the police are targeting black men. I don't. Now they might see maybe how you're dressed, and this is a bias, and you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, sure, but maybe you're have your pants sagging, or you look like a gang member. That don't mean you are. Maybe you just like the hip-hop style, which you shouldn't be treated bad because of it, but maybe sometimes they see that, or maybe you're edgy, and I mean, it's not excusing it. I'm just saying. I think there's more factors into that than, oh, it's a black guy, let's get him. I don't think police officers, for the most part, come in the morning for the morning briefing and say, hey, how many of these black dudes did you get today? Let's get them. No, I don't think that's it. But there are some situations, and maybe black people are treated a little worse. I don't know. I'm not a police officer, and I'm not around to do a survey and see how many are doing what. But to say that white people don't have to worry about getting gunned down by the police is a lie. Because I look at the stats, and white people have unlawful shootings done on them too. I've seen it happen. I've seen it on video. Like I said, there was one guy, a homeless guy, that the police gunned down, that unalived him in cold blood. They messed up. It does happen. Okay, and when you got people with a badge and gun, it's going to happen. But I don't know the statistics. Are there racist cops? Sure. There are. You're never going to get rid of racism. All you can do is try to suppress it and, make it a norm to stand up to it. But maybe that's a white privilege I have. But like I said, I'm not out committing crimes. I'm not speeding. Pretty much, I obey the laws, so the police aren't really coming for me. But I've had some bad experience. I had a police officer where I did an illegal U-turn, 3:00 in the morning, nobody around. It was me and my wife. I got pulled over. the cop cussed me out, said I was a dumbass. And I was compliant. I said, you know what? I'm wrong. I did wrong. He said, well, I'm going to give you a ticket. Yes, sir. I deserve it. Well, you dumbass, what were you thinking? And I could have gotten a big altercation. But most of my stops weren't like that. But that was one thing I thought, oh my God. And my wife was scared. And if you talk to her, she thought something bad because this guy was so aggressive and so hateful that but you know what? I let it go, but I got his badge number. I made a report, and I found out this guy had several complaints on how he treated people. I don't know if he's just too stressed out or an idiot, but you know, it does happen. Maybe not as frequently with black people. I don't know. I'm not going to say he's wrong because I don't know. But to say it don't happen to white people is a lie. Maybe not as much. But let's continue.
Realize it because they've never had that encounter, and they're like, well, that doesn't really happen, and it does.
I'm glad you brought that up because I want to talk about a few examples so you guys understand what we're talking about. This is what we mean when I say it doesn't mean that you're racist. It doesn't mean that you've done something wrong. It just exists. These are some examples of what I mean by white privilege. You have white privilege if you can say, I am accurately represented in almost every movie. Okay, now that doesn't mean you did anything. It just...
Okay, yeah, Jennifer, I get your point. There are some very bad police officers. Yeah, asking a black person or a black man, how could you afford a car? That's very condescending, very rude. Yeah, that's not how a police officer is supposed to conduct themselves. Okay, and there's some police that are biased that think that black people, they think that black people they see are boys from the hood, just causing trouble and criminals. There's a stereotype that black people are criminals, right? That and because there are black people that commit a crime don't mean they all do it. So maybe because how they dress, there's some bias. And the media has to do with how we look at things. Okay? And I would say this, that there are some white police officers look at black people like, oh my God, this guy looks like a criminal. But there are black police officers think the same thing because of what we see in the media, because of what we see out there, and we have a perception on things. Now, asking just because they got a nice car, that's the wrong thing to do. There are a lot of wealthy black people that have money, and to say that is just stupid. But I don't know how often that happens. I'm not going to say it don't happen because I don't experience it. But I have had bad experiences. And I'm not a criminal. But I've had rude police officers that have degraded me and talked to me all crazy. Most don't, okay? Let me make that clear. But there's been a couple times it was very uncalled for. And I don't know if they're just stressed out and can't handle the job. I don't know. But let's continue.
Means the fact of the matter is, in America, white people are almost always accurately represented in any movie that you watch. Another example, I can go shopping with the comfort of knowing that I will not be followed or harassed. People are not surprised that I am articulate or well-spoken.
Okay, let me say something about that. I believe this really does happen. I think black people are followed around more than white people. And I think more so black men. And I'm going to say why. Okay. And I don't think it's just because they're racist and they hate black people and they're just going. I think there's some that are like that, but I think it's more of the image they see. Because look, when we're not around each other like I think we should be, to where we look at how someone dresses. And like I said, when people that dress. Maybe they have their pants sagging. Maybe they look like someone they've seen on the news or in a movie. They get that image in their head and they think, oh my God, look at these guys. They look like gang members. Let's watch them. They might steal, which that might be just how they dress. And I get it. That's wrong. I mean, but, people do that. And black people do that too. There's black people that follow black people around because of how they dress, how they look. And do an experiment. You can be a white guy. Come into a bank dirty, looking smelly, and ask for a loan. See what happens. You can't say it's racist, but there are wealthy people that have done this. Walk into a bank, millionaires, white guys, dress kind of sloppy and look unclean, and they get treated badly because of their appearance, their image. And I think a lot of times it's not so much the racial thing, it's more of the image that you have and what they see in movies. And it could be just stereotypes. Okay. I see people walking around with their pants sagging, and I watch a movie and that's how gang members dress, right? But I know that they're not gang members. That's just what they like to look like. Okay? What's this? G. So your whole personality and content is based on the fact that your wife is black? What? I'm just giving my opinion on white privilege and interracial marriage. So you're saying I'm doing that because my wife's black? So if she wasn't black, I wouldn't talk about this? Well, maybe I wouldn't so much because I wouldn't deal with it, right? But I'm just telling you what I see and what I think. This is just my opinion. But let's continue.
I can use checks or credit cards and count on my skin color not to work against my credibility. That's white privilege. That's what I mean about that. Doesn't mean you're racist. You didn't do anything to cause that to happen individually. It's just part of the fabric of the society.
Okay. Now, with that opinion, I'm okay with that. If that's, maybe I do have privilege, but anyway. Randomly found. Well, welcome, G. You enjoying the Swirl to Investment Network? Content and ish. It's strange. Really? Is it strange for me to talk about white privilege and give my opinion? Shouldn't I be talking about it, G? And what's it got to do with my wife being black? Is that a problem? Is that wrong? I'm trying to be honest and have a discussion. People ask my opinion on this. I gave it. And I'm trying to be objective where I'm trying not to be biased and go in my feelings and experiences. I'm trying to see what's on the other side of the deal. I'm just saying. But anyway, okay. All right. I know some people are caught in their feelings, but look. It's all right. Don't like it, go away. Yeah. Right, Indiana Mom. If they don't like it, go away. I'm not, and the thing of it is, I'm not trying to be mean or, I'm trying to listen to what other people are saying. Isn't that what we do? My question, does Dr. Phil know about discrimination? I don't know. Who knows? But if you don't like my content, bye. I don't care what you think. I'm not here to coddle people. Can Satan cast out Satan? Oh, I'm getting the trolls tonight. Plazo. What are you talking about? Satan cast out Satan. You're calling me Satan? Welcome, trolls. Okay. Let's continue. Okay. All right. Let's hear what.
With that. That used to just be called.
All right. Let's hear what this guy has to say. All right.
Like deciding between job candidates, then wouldn't that be an example of not legal but de facto white privilege?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't call that white privilege. I'd just call that trying to be a good person. I think the problem with the term white privilege is the unspoken assumption, which is that if you are white, you have somehow benefited massively by dint of your skin color in the United States. And that is a proposition that on the individual level, I absolutely deny. When it comes to the idea that we should all treat each other as individuals and we should obviously examine our own internal biases, of course I agree with that. That used to just be called decency. The problem with weaponizing the term white privilege is, again, the suggestion that if you are a white person and you've been successful, the reason that you've been successful is due to this unspoken privilege and bias inside our institutions. If you want to point out to me a case where somebody is being a racist so I can get on the same side as you and then fight alongside you against that racism, that's fine. But if you want to go ghost hunting against things like white privilege, it doesn't have a specific enough definition or an action plan for me to do anything about it. Specificity is actually the friend to action. Vagary is the enemy of action. And it feels like in today's politics, vagary is what people cite because that allows them to be angry at other people without actually recommending an action that's useful.
I think he's got a good point there. Okay, if something is racist or wrong, and you can point it out, we see it, we could jump on your side because most white people don't agree with racism. Okay? There are hate groups out there, yeah, white supremacists, but that's a very small minority. But a lot of times this white privilege or even white supremacy is so vague that we don't see what people are talking about. Like, okay, what you say I have white privilege, what is it? What do I have that come from being white? Okay? Now, you say, well, slavery and you're benefiting off that. Am I? I was never given any money or land based on that. I did a trace. I can't find slavery in my family. So a lot of my family immigrated in the late 1800s. So I don't even know if it's there. But then again, I look at it and what is this white privilege? Because I can't, nobody said, hey, here's a money, here's a job because you're white. Now maybe the police treat me different because I'm white. I could believe that. The image I project, it isn't going to have the same impact as someone that's got their pants sagging, a do-rag on. I mean, I'm just saying. That don't mean they're a bad person. It's just they look at them, they look at me, and I'm an everyday guy. So I don't, maybe my image, I don't pose a threat. I don't know, but if I dressed like a biker and had tattoos, the police might say, oh, what's up with this guy? Maybe it's not always race. Maybe it's how you project yourself. Maybe it's your image. Peace to the chat. I'm just giving my opinion, okay? I could be wrong. But if you're going to say we have privilege and we're white supremacist, point that out. Because if we don't know, is it really a thing? Or are you just making it up? Now, anyway. All right. Let's see here. What's next? Okay, here's another one.
On time is white supremacy because what are they always on time to do? Oppress. I'm always going to be.
Okay, let's hear that again. What? Being on time is white supremacy.
Being on time is white supremacy because what are they always on time to do? Oppress. I'm always going to be 10 to 15 minutes late because that's the correct time, according to my people, according to the ones who move with the earth. not with the devil.
Okay, so what she said is being on time is white supremacy. Oh my God, I didn't know. I've been practicing white supremacy all my life, ever since I got a job. And my father told me to do it because he said, be on time, son. You have a job, you have a commitment, you better be. Oh my God, it's white supremacy. So if I show up to work on time, I'm a white supremacist? Now, I just can't. If you don't show up on time to work, you can get fired. You could lose your job. You could lose your source of income. Now, I would say to black people that say white supremacy is running rampant and all this stuff, and you tell me something like that, how can I take you serious? How can I even have a conversation? If you say white supremacy is being on time, what the hell? Go work for a black person and show up late and tell them that you're doing it because you're fighting white supremacy. Let's see how are they going to be. Maybe I should try that at work. Show up like, what'd she say? 10 minutes late? 10 to 15 minutes late? Because she moves with the earth. 10 to 15 minutes late. Because she's not for that white supremacy being on time. So she's going to be late. And I don't mean to be funny, but is this that thing they call CP time? I remember, oh my God, there was a friend of mine that was getting married to a black woman, and they're getting ready for the ceremony. And her family was coming in late when the ceremony was supposed to start. And we're sitting out front watching people come in really late. And he looked at me and he said, is this, because my wife's black, he said, is this that CP? You know, it was just me and him. Is this what they call that CP time thing? And I looked at him and laughed, said, yeah. But it was a joke. But to say being on time is white supremacy is just, I can't. This is just, okay. Now, if you can say, well, I didn't get a job and there's mostly white people being hired, maybe I can look into that and say, maybe you got something. But being on time is white supremacy? I mean, I don't know. But she moves with the earth, so being late is moving with the earth. Being on time is the devil. Okay. I'm like, wow. How am I supposed to take that serious? If I'm late to work, I can't pay my bills. I can't feed my family. But I guess I fought white supremacy. Maybe it's a psychological thing, because if they destroy me because I'm a white guy, then mission accomplished? I don't know. I try to figure, I can't understand that one. And the crazy thing is I think she's serious about it. I don't think it was a joke. I think she was dead serious. Okay. Let's hear what this guy says.
White privilege is when a white person.
Okay, this is a black guy. We're going to look, and I'm pulling like black women, black men. So I'm not just doing white people's opinion. Okay. Let's hear what he says. White privilege versus black privilege. Okay, what is that?
Secondly, white privilege is when a white person will never face hardship based off of their skin color. Hope this helps. Hey, thank you for the comment. Okay, so if we're using that definition as white privilege, then people definitely don't have white privilege. Here's why. I guess you could say maybe some people will, but then by that logic, some people will also have black privilege. Here's why I say that. There are plenty of black people in powerful positions in today's society. And I know that there are a lot of black people that will look to prioritize hiring black people over white people, right? So those white people will face hardships in those situations because those black people are specifically choosing to hire black people over the white people, and it can go for vice versa. So there is a very real chance the majority of people in today's society do not have white privilege. And it's actually very rare that you would actually know if that is why someone didn't hire you or not. You can only assume, unless you get like a text or verbal confirmation, right? You're only assuming. There could be 20 different reasons why that person didn't get the job. And one of them could possibly be about skin color, possibly, right? But there's a whole other variety of things that could be taking place that are influencing that decision. So to me, if you can't guarantee it, right, why spend your energy trying to prove it? And I think we spend far too much energy trying to prove different types of racism rather than just working on ourselves and becoming very competent. Because again, in the end, competency is what's going to get you where you want to be, not your skin color.
Right. I agree with that. And the best way to fight racism is just be successful. Work hard. Life ain't fair. Sometimes you got to work a little harder. And you know what? And when I look at programs that like maybe and I'm gonna be honest here, like affirmative action, for instance. Let's say I don't get the job because they need more minorities. Okay, I might get my feelings hurt, but you know what? I gotta keep fighting. I can't just say, oh my God. I just gotta keep working and be better. And sometimes, and look, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I've benefited from affirmative action. I don't. And maybe it's the jobs I had, and I just hit the right time with the job skills. Um, the Army's really been amazing for me, So I don't get, and if a black person gets hired because of some law that gives them a little privilege, I'm okay with that. I don't get worked up. And if the government offers you, you take it. There was a time, when I retired out of the Army and my wife went for her dream job and she got it and she done very well. She moved up the ladder. And there were some people jealous of her and tried to say, well, she's getting it because she's black, affirmative action and stuff. And my wife is nothing like that. In fact, there were times she said, I don't want to take it because I don't want people thinking I got it because I've been given to me because she's black. She and I told her, I said, you know what, you take it and you do the best job you can. If they're giving you that because of that reason, that's the law, it's in the system, just do it. And I say to black people, if you get a job because of that, take it and do the best you can. Okay? I mean, life is tough. You take the opportunity. Okay? I don't think we should be putting people above each other because of race. I don't. But, I guess in our laws, because of things were wrong before, I guess we reverse it and make it right. I just think we just make it right. But, you can have privilege. There is black and white privilege. There really is. I believe that black people could talk about race and say racial stuff towards white people more than white people can. I think we're held to a higher standard and we get our butts handed to us if we go too far with that. I believe that. Because of our history and what happened, because of the evil past, But I don't worry about that because I don't live that way. But I think this guy's objective. I think he's looking at it like, look, this ain't really a thing. But anyway, let's get to the next one. Okay, let's talk about interracial marriage and white privilege. Okay. There's a chart I'm going to show you later on. And it blows my mind. But anyway, interracial marriage. Okay. Is there white privilege in an interracial marriage? Is there? There's a perception of it. Okay. Some people think that black women that marry a white man have more wealth, have more success. I say, yeah, that is true. A black woman that marries a white man is going to have white privilege. I'm going to own up to it and say, yes, it's true. I do. And I don't think it's because they're white. I think it's because us white men, we look at black women differently. If a black woman accepts us, those of us that love black women, they accept us. We look at it like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is a blessing. We cherish it. We embrace it. Where black women with their men in their community, I think black men take black women for granted many times. I do. And I think white men, we do better because we try more. We don't take black women for granted like that. Because we look at it like, if she gives us her love, it's a beautiful thing, and we embrace it rather than, oh well, she should give it to me. And I think there's some privilege there. Okay, black women and white men, we are the leaders in our community. We are the backbone, and we are the ones blamed for everything. We really are. Black women are blamed for being single mothers because of the black community, because they're not submissive enough. They don't do this right. They got to weave or whatever. And white men, well, everything that's evil in the world is your fault, so you're wrong. But white, and look, white women will many times jump ship from white men and say, yeah, they're the oppressor. Because she's a woman, she's in the oppressed group, and kind of kick us to the curb in a way. And black women are being kicked to the curb in a way too, where they're being blamed. And I think it's an accountability issue. When a man is the prize and the important one in the relationship will always fall. Okay? And look, and I think in the white community, the reason a lot of times, even white people at their worst, most evil days have been successful. And the reason is because of how they treat their women, how they treat their wives. Okay? And I think when we get with black women, we treat black women like, our forefathers have treated their women, their wife, as a treasure, as a prize, as a blessing. But in the black community, it seems like it's different. Like the man is the prize. I mean, they say that all the time, right? And I think that's what's really happening. And I think black women, white men, we get that privilege when we get together because we're both working. We're both are the backbone of our community. And I don't mean to be mean when I say that. That's my opinion. And if you look at the marriage stats, black women, white men do far better than two white people, two black people, and much better than the black man, white woman. Okay. And I'm not saying that to be mean. That's just the truth. Numbers don't lie. I wish everybody's successful. Hopefully we get there one day. But that's what's going on. Oh, what's that? No, let me read this comment. Only if you are elite in the sea, then you can benefit from being privileged. Actually, white Americans in the middle class do not feel privileged. Okay. I believe that because we had the work. Nothing was given to us. Black Americans are not in the same space. I disagree. There's a lot of middle class Black Americans. I mean, what do you mean? I mean, I know wealthy black families. Uh, maybe statistically, no, actually, the white people are most that are frustrated. Hmm. Okay. Okay. That could be true. I mean, and look, it's human nature to get defensive. If somebody says you have white privilege, the first thing a white person is going to think, okay, here we go. You're going to say everything's been given to me, the silver spoon in the mouth, and everything just laid out. That's a human reaction. Now, if you say some specific thing like maybe the police thing, maybe that's true. I don't know. Okay. I mean, we have privileges we don't even know we have as human beings. So, okay. I'm okay with that, I guess. But just saying that because you're white, you just have the red carpet rolled out. And I think interracial marriages last longer. Yeah, they do. Black women, white men are leading the way. Okay, let's see these videos about interracial marriage or interracial uh relationships.
Message for white partners in interracial relationships. It is your responsibility.
Okay, sorry guys. Okay, attention white partners and interracial relationships. Okay, young lady, let's hear it.
This is a message for white partners in interracial relationships. It is your responsibility to chart the path for your partner's emotional safety when you're with your family. I know how much you want your partner to be a part of your family and for everything to just feel all rainbows and butterflies. And you don't necessarily have to give that dream up. There might be some times where white partners do have to kind of cut off family members, but that's not always the case.
Okay, let me say something about that. She's absolutely right. Look, I'm agreeing with this right now. Okay? Look, I've been married to my black wife for over 30 years. Okay? I started dating black women at 16. My first girlfriend was a black girl. Okay? I opened up my option to black women and never looked back. That's how much I love black women. Okay? Some will say, oh, that's weird. That's a fetish. Whatever. Okay? That's how I feel. Now, she's absolutely right. And I will be damned if my wife is ever disrespected to any of my family members or my friends. I will cut everybody off in my family because my wife is the most important person in my family. Period. End of story. And if they're not okay with me being married to a black woman, they're done. It's over. And I know that would be heartbreaking, but I'll do it in a New York minute. And you have to be that way. There's some so-called friends I had to kick their ass to the curb because they were like, well, why are you with a black woman? No, you shouldn't do that. Well, bye. See ya. Couple family members I cut off. Get out of here. But I'm willing to do it. You know, not a problem at all. I tell you, my mother and father, which I love more than anything in the world, I would cut them off if they stood in the way with me being with my wife Sandy. And it wouldn't even be a hesitation. Which they never stood in the way, but they understand I would do it. But she's right. And you want your family to be cohesive and love your wife and her family love your family. And yeah, we want that. But sometimes people are not accepting of who you are in love with, who you marry, and you need to kick them to the curb. I don't care if it's your mother, father, brother, sister, kick their ass to the curb. Because if they're going to do that to you, they really don't love you. I'm just saying. Let's continue.
You can't ignore the things that are going on. You have to address them directly. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. It could be expressing anger. It could be inquiring with curiosity. One of my favorite tools is to actually say to your family member, I really want you to know this because I care about you and because I want us all to be close and connected. The last thing I'll share here is that it's also important to give your partner an out. You can't force them to attend family events. You need to respect their decisions to leave family events if that's what they really desire. And I know this is a lot to handle, so if you want support, reach out and we can work on it.
Right. I think she's right. If they don't want to participate in a family event, you got to give them that. Your wife comes first, okay? And that's always been my thing. My wife is everything. She's the most important person in my family. She's above my mother, father, brother, my children. She's number one, okay? She's my wife, my treasure. She's everything. Okay, so I what this young lady is saying is true. Okay, I totally agree with this. And if you're not willing to cut ties with family members and so-called friends to be with the one you love, you really don't love that person. I'm just going to say it. And if you're going to go into an interracial relationship, you better be all in, or else you're going to get hurt. The one that you're with is going to get hurt, and it's unnecessary. If you can't take what comes forward, you don't need to be in that interracial relationship. But anyway, good video. Okay. Now this young lady's talking about her hair. Let me play this.
Can I have my black women who date white guys come to the front of the class? Come to the front of the class. I have to talk to you guys, okay? Now that you're here, do you know that freedom that you have when you start dating white guys where you could just wear any wig? Like, it doesn't have to look good. It doesn't have to be laid because, like, they won't be able to tell. Like, this is where I am now. And I was like, oh my God, you know, you can always tell those black girls who date the white guys because their hair always looks eek. But it's okay because they don't know how it's supposed to look, girl. It's such a freedom. Goodbye, glue.
You know what? What she's saying is true. I've thought about this, right? And I've heard women talk about the bad wig. White guys are crazy over it, and it works. And white men, you don't have to have your lace front right or whatever they're talking about. But I thought about this, and us as white men, we really, if we're in love with a black woman, we don't care. And if her hair looks kind of wild, it's like the Tina Turner thing, like, oh, that's cool. It's like, I mean, we really don't get involved in black women's hair. Look, when people ask me, what do you think about black women's hair? Do you like them natural or do you like the weave or braids? And I'm like, well, I do like braids. Okay. I like when my wife wears braids, but I mean, I like it when she goes natural. I mean, when she puts a weave in, it looks nice. My only problem with the weave is my wife's hair grows so fast, it don't last that long. Other than that, it looks good. I don't really get involved in a black woman's hairstyle. I will say this, though. Black women have the most beautiful hair on earth. It's different from any other women. Black women have a unique look that they have. And I remember in the 70s when black women would have the afro and some people thought it was like a militant look, or I guess because of the Black Power thing going on. I didn't. I thought it was beautiful. I thought black women that had the I thought, oh man. And I've seen a couple women that wear it, and it looks beautiful. It just there's something about it that's different. I thought the Jerry curl looked good too. I mean, I told people I want to show pictures of my wife with her Jerry curl back in the day, and she said, "You better not." So I don't. But I mean, we're really not. I mean, white guys. I think what we do is we leave the hairstyle to black women. If they're happy with it, I mean, a black woman looks beautiful whether she's got a fro or straight hair or braids or whatever. I mean, as long as she's happy and look, and I know a little something about black women's hairstyles because I've been paying for them for over 30 years. My wife's had it all: braids, weave, the natural look, the hey, you name it. But what's amazing is black women can change their hairstyles and look good. I mean, and I don't know what some of these black dudes getting all crazy about a weave or how she wears her hair. I think black women are beautiful. They can have short hair, long hair, whatever. Um, but yeah, she's kind of right about that. We really don't make that a big deal. And another thing, here's another privilege thing. We're going to call it white men's privilege for black women. The thing about the skin tone, we don't care about that either. In fact, in today's world, white men that date black women, we embrace your features, your skin tone. We think it's beautiful. We think your facial features are beautiful. We think your hair's beautiful. I do. I always thought, man, the black woman is the most beautiful woman on earth. I thought that at 4 years old. Look, black women have a uniqueness that no other woman has on earth. And I think black women need to embrace that more. You know, I know some black women are sensitive about their hair. They shouldn't be. You got beautiful hair. And don't take offense when a white guy wants to touch your hair. He just thinks it's beautiful. And many cultures, a man running his hands through a woman's hair is like an intimate thing. So you have a white boyfriend that puts his hands in your hair. It's not that he's disrespecting your hair, or it's just a natural thing. I think just we do. Okay. But yeah, she's pretty much right. I seen that one. I should show that video, that one lady saying that white men love bad wigs or something. And she had a wig looking on, and it looked crazy, but it looked beautiful. It's like, oh yeah, I could see what she's talking about. I was just saying. Okay. Here's another one on interracial marriage or interracial relationship. Let's hear it.
Question: out of all interracial relationships.
So I'm going to speak from experience, and I'm also going to speak from observation. So here we go. Black women, just due to our own socialization, we have to have an awareness for the world because we have to figure out how we're safe, how we can survive in this world. And that expands our worldview as Black women. White men socialize themselves to not see the world completely because they're white and they're male, and so therefore they have the power dynamic. Well, Black women bring that awareness that white men don't have.
The power dynamic. We don't see, we choose to see the world like, I think she's kind of right. And you know what? We do. We live our life the way we want to. I know I do. I like, you know, But I don't know if we just see it the way we want to. We do see reality, but we choose to be happy. And, well, some of us white men, we choose to live our life the way we want. We choose to be happy. And, I've always pursued the women I've been attracted to. And I never cared what people thought. Okay, they're black and I'm white. I don't care. I want to be happy. I want the best option in my life. And that's what I live for. I don't look, me being a white guy, that's just who I am. That's just my DNA. I do not worship my whiteness. But then again, I don't hate myself for being a white guy either. I have I have self love. And why shouldn't I? But I don't think I'm above anybody, but I'm not below anybody either. But anyway, but I love black women. I think they're amazing and awesome.
That awareness can make them more empathetic, more compassionate, more aware of sort of the damage that white socialization has, and also the power structures at B. Bringing awareness, bringing that compassion, that empathy to a white man kind of enhances his life.
Let me tell you something. She's talking about empathy and compassion. I can see this young lady's got some emotions. And I don't know if she's talking about what a black woman goes through. But if a black woman's serious and really has love for you, you have love for her, you're going to have empathy and compassion. I do. I have a lot of empathy and compassion for black women. I do. I think black women are the most loving, most loyal, beautiful women on earth. But I think black women are the most mistreated women on earth. Okay? To this day. And people say, well, that's white supremacy and racism. No, it's not just that. It's within their own community, they're treated bad. So what she's talking about, and when a black woman touches your heart and truly loves you, and you love her, you can receive that. You can have empathy. And you don't want her to hurt. You don't want her to be unhappy. But I look at it and I listen. And some people will say, well, some white guys will say, she's just talking, and blaming white. No, I feel her. I can feel what she's saying. There's some compassion, there's some empathy. And but anyway, let's hear what else she has to say.
Because he can be a wholer person. And when you're a whole person, you feel more enhanced in yourself. You feel better in yourself. So I feel like black women bring more wholeness to white men, and actually they appreciate that and they tend to stay in those relationships.
Right. Black woman does bring wholeness into the relationship. What she's saying is truth. And I tell you, there's something about black women when they touch your heart, and she brings out that love you have in your heart, and she brings out I look at this and I'm like, oh man, it's kind of emotional because I know my wife was like that. She brought out the best in me, and I don't know why. For the life of me, I don't know why black women are the least married. I can't understand it. I don't know why black men don't see the beauty in black women in the collective. I don't know what is going on. I pull my hair out because I'm like, do you even listen to black women? Oh my God. The black community would rule the world if they would pour love in the black woman. And I say that, and And it's true, but they don't. And if you're a man and you have to be the prize, you can never see the beauty in a woman. And that's the problem. A woman like this, look at her eyes. You see the passion, right? Now, I don't know this woman, but I've experienced relationships with black women, and I've seen this. I can't for the life of me. I just, I can't understand. You know, and I'm going to be honest, and I know this is bad for me to say this. But if black women and white women got together and say, hey, we're going to trade places, and they did it, I would be very okay with that. And look, black women are amazing. I mean, there's no accident why white men that marry black women have the most successful marriages. That ain't no accident. When they touch our heart, we're done. You open up your heart to a black woman, she belongs to you forever. You belong to her forever. Did I say that wrong? Okay, well, you can belong to each other forever. But when a black woman touches your heart, it belongs to her. It's hers. Because when she opens that love to you and brings out that love, you're not going to go back. You're not going to want to. Because you will never experience a love that you would with a black woman. Straight up.
Secondly, white men, due to the opportunities, again, that white socialization has, they tend to make more money. They tend to have more safety and security just by being white in the Western world. I feel like as a black woman, you take...
Okay, now, is she right about that? They tend to have more wealth because of the Western world? Yes. Okay. I have to agree with that. Okay. In the Western world and the European world, Europeans, look, and back in the day, you know, it was either you conquered or you were conquered. Slavery was a worldwide thing. It wasn't just white men getting black people. No. Every continent, every country had slavery. Black, white, everybody. Okay. Back in the day, it was power and conquest. Okay. And look, Africans were conquering each other. Europeans were. Asians were. Europeans took it to a more global thing. Okay. And Asians did too, to a point. But that's just how man is. Okay. We live in a more civilized society. The way things happen were wrong, but the strong survived. That's just the way it was. You know? Tribute isn't what? Okay. Kevin Flower. Tribute isn't chattel, slavery. Stop lying. Okay, whatever. I'm just telling you the way the world was. Okay. And we wouldn't have slavery in America if black men didn't sell black people to white men. Okay. That's the truth. Everybody's hands were in it. Okay. It don't excuse what America did by no means, but it is what it is. Okay. So, yeah, Europeans did benefit because they conquered. The Romans conquered all of Europe. And it wasn't right, but they did it. and then Germanic tribes took them over, and then the French had their time, and then the English and the Vikings and all that. But this was happening all around the world. Men conquered men. It is what it is. Empires rise and fall. America is our empire. We got white people, black people, Asian, Hispanic, every group in the world is here. Let's make our home the best that it is. Let's be on top. Let's be the most powerful, but let's do it right. Let's not take advantage of people. But anyway, I'm getting off in a. All right, let's continue.
You take on that sort of wealth of opportunity. You take on that wealth of safety that they have. So it actually benefits Black women as well. And usually what I see is that when Black women tend to date white men, they don't tend to date them because they're white. They tend to date them because they're being treated well by them, which means white men have to come with some level of empathy and compassion even before they get into that relationship.
Let me say this, okay? I'm going to say this. This is going to trigger some people, and I don't care. I believe it to be true. White men will treat Black women better. Okay, especially traditional white men. Okay, the ones that love Black. I'm not going to say all white men because most white men are married to white women, so their prize is their wife. Okay, but the white men that love Black women will treat Black women better than Black men do, and I stand 10 toes down on that. In the collective, they will. There's always an exception, but they will. And in fact, if you look at it logically, Black women that go with white men tend to be happier. They tend to have more wealth. They tend to, their health tends to be a bit better because they're happier. They don't have to go 50-50 as much. Okay? That thing that Tyler Perry said, well, as long as he pays the light bill and takes your lunch, that wouldn't fly in my community. My father told me, he said, if you can't afford a wife, you don't deserve a wife. And I would say this, I would go on a limb and say, you know what? I have white privilege in a sense that my father told me to pull my head out of my blank and get it together. That my father could hit me on the negative and pound me to where I had humility, pound me to where I could see where I truly was and how I needed the work to do better. Maybe that's the white privilege you're talking about, where I don't have an excuse, where I can't claim racism. I can't claim, oh, there's Black supremacy holding me back. I can't claim it. No, I'm looked at as a power structure. If I don't make it, it's my fault. If I do make it, sometimes they'll say, well, it's because you're white, you had privilege. And that's good too. It seems negative, but actually, when people go out and attack white men for being privileged, for white privilege, white supremacy, and everything that happened is your fault, you would think that would tear down white men and make them weaker, but actually it strengthens white men. Number one, it puts humility. Number two, you don't have an excuse for failure. If you're a failure, you're a failure. Number three, the more work you put in, the more successful you are. And I wouldn't say that's white privilege. That's hard work privilege. But being the leader in your community, you have to make things happen. And Black women, white men have to do it. Tell me I'm wrong. I mean, seriously. People will say, oh, well, you're hating on Black men because you say negative. No, I'm speaking the truth. And the way you help a man is not by coddling him, not by telling him, oh, you're doing just fine, you're great. No, The way you help a man is being honest with him, telling him this is what you're doing wrong. This is where you're lacking. You're not treating your women right. You're not being a man. You're trying to be a prize, and you're trying to get something out of the relationship instead of putting something into it, and that's why you fell. When you take women for granted and you exploit them, you're going to have nothing but destruction. And I'm telling you, these are guys that go around saying, telling black women, you got to be this age, this look, and super fit, super smart, and do this, and be super submissive, and to have a good man. They're full of crap. Because women have more options than men. Okay? And black women, if they open up their options, they can have any man they want to. I think the problem is that black women are so loyal that they will pour everything into their community, into the men they're with. They will be more submissive. They will work harder. They will do whatever hairstyle you like. They'll dress like you look. They'll do that. And some black women need to just let go and say, you know what? Enough. Open up your options. Get out. Divest. I think a lot of black women need to do that. Go where you're loved. Go where you're celebrated. I'm just saying. And I tell you, having the love of a black woman is more of a privilege than any type of white privilege could ever give you. And that's the truth. So, you know, and I speak on this, and I have to. You know, people, wouldn't you agree, if I have a black wife and I got biracial daughters and a biracial son, I should stand up for black people. They tell me that, right? If someone says something racist, I should knock it down. I should end it. I should. Okay? But if I'm married to a black woman, I should always stand up for black women, should I not? Shouldn't I stand up for a black woman against all enemies that try to harm a black woman? Whether it be physical, mentally, emotionally. I should, right? So why is it that I can't tell the truth when it comes to marriage with black women? Why is it I can't say that black women are better off with white men? Because the numbers say it. Why is it I got to coddle men to be with a black woman? That don't make sense. I should stand up and say, you know what? And look, the black community has the highest out of birth rate. At 78% of black children will be born out of wedlock. That's the truth. The black community is the least married community. Okay, we're all struggling in marriage. We all need to do better. Okay, us men need to do better. And my thing is holding people accountable. You make a man better by holding them accountable, not by telling him he's wonderful, not by giving them praise, but by holding them accountable. If your marriage rates suck, they suck. You need to fix it. Do better. In my life, there's times I was going down the wrong road. I was headed nowhere fast, and I shared that with you. But if I would have never went back and learned how to read the right way, get out of that 6th grade reading level, and get into college and get a job that I could have some wealth, that I could take care of my family, if I wouldn't have seen the failure in my life, who knows where I'd be? Managing a Taco Bell or something? I tell you, and I share this, my wife brought out the best in me. But I tell you, on my worst day, I always provided for my wife. I paid all the bills. I paid the rent. I made sure she had food and clothing. I was always a provider. Now that I corrected my fault, I can provide more to my wife. Instead of people saying, "Oh, you got a good husband, he works hard." Man, you're lucky. You got all this. You're doing yeah, because she believed in me and I got better. And now I can give my wife more. And let's continue.
Because as a partner to a Black woman, you kind of have to take on our own emotional labor. Just living in the world as a Black woman, you kind of have to deal with the fact that we don't get paid as much. We get treated worse by everyone, you know? So usually you're already dealing with someone who's a little bit more whole, and Black women are already dealing with someone who kind of cares for them. So they tend to get into these relationships for the right reasons, not because the Black woman is Black, not because the white man is white.
I agree with that. You know what attracted me the most to Black women? I'm going to tell you. The Black woman and her emotions was so attractive. Like you see this here, and you can see in her eyes that there's emotion. There's some hurt, there's some love, there's some pain. But that really attracted me to Black women, their emotions and their character. How Black women could be so resilient with almost nothing. And I look at Black women and I think, that's the woman I want to be with, the Black woman. Because the Black woman is very emotional, very spiritual, very loving. And with a woman like she's telling you how she feels and the emotions, one thing I can embrace in a Black woman and when she opens up to you. And with that, you want to embrace her. You want to, I'm not saying her, I'm just saying the Black woman in general. You know, you want to love her. You want to embrace her. You want to have compassion. You have empathy for her. You feel her pain. And I tell you, look, I've seen this in Black women my whole life. And people thought I was weird or something. But it's just, I seen true love. As a child, I seen the beauty in Black women. I could feel the love. And I grew up just believing Black women were just the most amazing women ever. And my life reflects that. And there are people that research me and see if he's telling the truth. And they find out, you know what? He's right. But I love the emotions of Black women. I love it. I love when you like my wife, you know, when she opens up to me and tells me how she feels, and I just want to embrace her and just make it better. And I just want to tell her I love her. And look, with my wife, I love my wife so much. I embrace her all the time. I'm always hugging on my wife. I'm always, and I just, when I sleep, I hug my wife. When I come home, I hug my wife. Hey, when I pray, I hug my wife. I fall asleep praying in her arms because I know how much of a blessing she is. You know, and I see the blessing in so many black women. I look at these women and, I look at myself as like a godfather to black women. I care about them and I want to see them do good, be successful, and be happy. But I don't want nothing from them. It's like a godfather. I've seen amazing things black women have done. I've been blessed by black women. I've seen the hard work they do, and I've seen the disrespect that black women have been given. And I just love to see them succeed. And even if I don't know them, I love to see them do good. And people say that's weird. It's not weird. I just see the truth. And the best option don't look like me. Okay, that's okay. You know? And look, in today's world, finding true love, if you find it, embrace it. Because it's tough. People are corrupt in today's world. Regardless of the race, people are just, you got to vet. You got to have your standards. Oh, thank you so much. You guys are amazing. Guys, I just want to make this. Now, the thing about white privilege, does it exist? I'm going to say yes and no. It depends on the situation. In today's world, during Jim Crow, yeah, white privilege was real. No denying it. Okay. I think in today's world, it's not perfect. I think we've leveled the playing field a lot more than it was. But there's going to be people privileged over you. I think today's world, it's more about economic privilege more than race. I think people with money definitely have privilege. Okay. And I'm sorry, guys, I got the sniffles. Okay. I'm dealing with the little sinuses, a head cold. So if my voice is a little weird, that's what's going on. But I think it's more economic today in today's world. But there is white privilege sometimes. It happens. Okay. I'm not going to deny it don't exist, and maybe I benefit some way. I mean, I do benefit by being an American. Living in a country, there are people around the world that if they get one meal, that's a great day. I have 3 a day. I could have 10 meals if I wanted. That wouldn't be a wise thing to do. It wouldn't be healthy. That's a gift God blessed you with. I'm truly. Thanks for fun. Oh, thank you so much, Beverly. You've been a blessing to me and my wife and this channel. You have. And I want you to know that. And, and the uplifting messages you send, I do appreciate that. I really do. And, all you guys that send me messages, I appreciate that. And me and my wife, Sandy, appreciate it. Tonight, I just want to talk about the white privilege thing. And I think it's more on a situation based. I don't think it's in government. In fact, I think they're pushing it the other way where white privilege is going away to where some white people might be at the back of the line. But regardless, hard work will win the day. But Anyway, the link's up there. I'm going to be closing up this live. I'm just giving you my opinion. When people ask me about white privilege, I'm not privileged by wealth because I'm white. I wasn't given land or money because of that. Maybe the police situation, I'm privileged there. I don't know. Maybe walking in a store, people don't follow me. Okay. I don't know. I don't do a survey on that. I think people are biased and have opinion on how you look. And I don't think it's always race driven. I think it's just how you're dressed. And they associate that with movies and what they see on the news. Um, you know. But anyway, thank you, Beverly. Carlos, you are so welcome. Is there a website where I can find a husband? That. Thank you so much. Uh, I appreciate it. You guys are so awesome. I love you guys. But, ladies, I would just say, black women, put yourself in a position where you're better off. Go where you're loved. Okay? Open up those options. Right? You outnumber the men in your community by over 2 million. Okay? Now, if you find that diamond in the rough in your community, well, God bless you, be happy. But if you don't, maybe look at opening up your options. Just saying. And look, I'm not the only white guy that sees beauty in black women. I'm not. Amazingly, most white men I talk to are open to dating black women. More so back 30 years ago. Things have really changed. I'm telling you. Seeing more and more interracial couples. I'm seeing a lot more young people. I'm seeing high schoolers. I'm seeing people in their 20s getting married, black women, white men, and I love to see that. Now I'm seeing the older couples too in their 50s, 60s, and 70s opening up their options. I've seen that at church. A black woman, white man, they've been friends for years. And both their spouses passed on, and hey, they came together. They found love and company with each other, and they're enjoying each other while they're on earth. They miss who they're married to before they pass, but things happen. Some people get married later on in life and open up their options. Some do it real young. Me and my wife, I was 24, she was 25, and hey, we opened up our options and man, never looked back. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I followed my heart. And I'm glad that I could see the true beauty in black women. I thank God that He allowed me to open up my eyes when I was a boy, when I had a pure heart, when I didn't have those biases, where I could see true love, where I could see the beauty of black women before people could get in my head and tell me things are a certain way. That was a blessing. A lot of people don't see that. They live in their segregated little world and think, well, black people are this way, white people were this way, and we're so different and we can't get together, which is a lie. What a beautiful thing is people that thought I was crazy back in the day say, you know what, I had a few friends tell me, you know what, you were on to something. I thought it was strange that you love black women so much. I mean, I get it, they're beautiful, but there's other beautiful women. Why are you hung up on black women? Tell you why. The love of black women, their heart, their character. Black women being resilient. Now, I'm attracted to that. Black women's emotions. I know some people put black women down because they're emotional, but that's a beautiful thing. Love is an emotion. And when black women open up that, I mean, you experience love. But anyway, I could go on all night about this. But I hope you guys enjoyed the show. You know, and I will say this. Black women, open up your options. Okay? Do never settle, never date or marry down. Black women, you're better than that. Okay? You are the best option. Okay? You deserve the best option. Whatever color that is, you deserve the best. You deserve to be happy, taken care of. You deserve to feel beautiful and safe. Okay? Put yourself first, black women. Stop trying to hold up everybody else. Put yourself first. Okay? And I will say this, whether there's privilege, some are privileged more than others, don't let privilege that others have hold you back. Be in charge of your destiny. If you have to work a little harder than that guy because he's got more privilege, work harder. Okay? It's going to build character. I know life is not fair, but you got to work. You can't give up. You know. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching tonight. Oh, tomorrow, okay, about 2:15, well, my time, 4:15 Eastern time, I'm going to have a live show tomorrow. Okay? 4:15. And guys, please make this show. Okay? It's going to be a movie and a historical review I'm going to do. It's going to be on the 6th Battalion. Okay? The Women's Army Corps, the Black Woman Unit in World War II that were deployed overseas. Okay, you guys heard about that? I'm going to be talking about that. I'm going to be doing a review on the movie and the history of it. Okay? And that, I never knew about this. Amazing thing black women do. I see things and it amazes me. But these black women soldiers did amazing things and served our great nation. And we should uplift them. And, I don't know why this wasn't in the history books, or I didn't learn about it. I learned about the Tuskegee Airmen. I knew about that in high school. I learned about them. But the 6th never knew about them. But, we're going to talk about it. And we're going to talk about black women, how resilient, how these women defied the odds, how they exceeded expectations, how they showed excellence in what they did. And that's going to be a fun show, guys. So 2:15 Eastern time, join me tomorrow, okay? No, 4:15 Eastern time, sorry. 4:15 Eastern time. I'm sorry, I'm at Mountain Time, so I get all jacked up. 4:15 Eastern time. It's already posted. Just go to my channel where it says upcoming live shows. Okay. I would like you guys to come and watch that. And I will drop the link if you want to talk about it. That's always an opportunity. So 4:15 Eastern time. Okay. We're going to talk about the 6th Battalion. Amazing black women doing amazing things for our great nation. Okay. And I love history. And I love talking about black women and how they do amazing things. And we're going to have a good time with that. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. And the trolls that came in, thank you for being a part of the show, helping out with the views and everything. And you got to thank the trolls. The trolls probably built my channel more than anybody. Miss Elizabeth Johnson. What's that? Brent, I send you. Oh yeah, I got it, Beverly. Yeah, I'll show that. Yeah, we'll talk about her. She's one of the ladies of the 688 battalion. Oh yeah. There's another lady I found a video on too. That'll be fun. And you know, if you get a chance to see the movie, this is probably one of Tyler Perry's best movies, I think. You know, it's a good movie. It's on Netflix. You can watch it. But yeah, watch the movie. Watch the documentaries too. And you can search it on YouTube. Okay, it tells the history of what these ladies did and how they were set up for failure, but they adapted and overcame and were successful where others couldn't be. So that's a beautiful thing. She was one of the 688. Yeah. Awesome. We'll talk about her too. But anyway, ladies, gentlemen, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, we'll talk about the 688. It'll be a fun time. It'll be a positive show where we can uplift black women. And black women have been doing amazing things back then, now, and future. They'll do even more. But anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. God bless you and your families. Have a good night. Happy Saturday. Happy New Year, guys. Okay, I won't be doing a New Year show this time. Me and Sandy got a special night we're going to do on New Year's, and I'm going to spend it with my wife. But, I'll be back soon after. And guys, you have a blessed night. Thank you for being a part of this show tonight. I really appreciate it. And, enjoy the weekend. God bless. Happy New Year.